Hello there. I'd like to ask you something, a little personal. Have you ever looked at your children, or perhaps your grandchildren, and seen how busy they are, caught up in the rush of their own careers and their own young families, and had a quiet question drift into your mind? If something really went wrong, who could I truly call at 2 in the morning? For most of us, the immediate answer is, of course, family. It's a comforting thought, a belief that has been our bedrock for a lifetime. But after more than 30 years as a family doctor, I have to share a truth that might be difficult to hear. Believing that your family is your only safety net isn't just a risk. It can be the single greatest silent threat to your independence after 60. And it is a silent threat. In my own practice, I've seen far too many good people feel a sense of disappointment or a deep loneliness, even with loving children just a town away. But here's the thing that truly surprised me over the years. The most resilient, the happiest patients I've ever had the privilege to know. They weren't always the ones with children living next door. They were the ones who had quietly, intentionally, built something for themselves that proved to be even stronger. I'll never forget a patient of mine, a wonderful gentleman named John. He had dedicated his entire life to his children, and he was certain they would be there for him in his later years. But when his wife passed away suddenly, he found his children, as much as they loved him, were pinned down by jobs in other states and their own little ones. John told me he spent the loneliest months of his life just waiting by the phone. His story taught me a profound lesson. And that's why I'm talking to you today. I don't want you to ever feel that way. Together, we are going to build your own personal house of support. I will show you 6 essential pillars, supports that have proven to be even more reliable than family when times get tough. And the most important thing is, you have the power to build them yourself, starting right now. Please, stay with me until the end. Because the 6th pillar is the one most people overlook. It costs nothing, not a single penny. But it is the one thing that will determine whether your coming years are about merely existing or about truly living. It might be the most important thing you hear all year. What I'm about to share doesn't come from a textbook. It comes from thousands of honest, heartfelt conversations, right in my office, from the real stories of people just like you. Before we begin, I truly want to know how many of you have ever had a feeling like the one I described. If what I've just shared touches a familiar chord in your heart, please take a moment to comment a simple yes below. It helps me understand, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. All right, let's begin. All right, let's talk about the first pillar, the foundation upon which all others are built. Pillar number 1. Your financial stability. One of the most common and most dangerous habits of thought I see in my patients is the quiet assumption that says, I've provided for my children my whole life. If I ever truly get into trouble, they'll be there for me. It's a comforting idea, born from love and a lifetime of sacrifice. But it's a thought that can lead to incredible heartache. You see, financial independence isn't about being wealthy. It's not about having a mansion or a fancy car. From a medical perspective, it's about managing a very real, very physical thing in your body. The stress hormone, cortisol. When you are constantly worried about the next bill or an unexpected expense, your body is flooded with cortisol. This isn't just a feeling. It disrupts your sleep, it fogs your thinking, and it puts a continuous, low-grade strain on your heart. When you have a financial safety net that you, yourself, have built, your mind can rest. Your body can relax. You give yourself the gift of peace. And we have to understand the core reason why this has become so critical. It's not because your children love you any less than generations past. It's because the world has fundamentally changed. They are navigating a world of student loan debt that our generation never knew. They are facing a housing market that is, in many places, completely out of reach. And the cost of raising their own children is higher than it has ever been. They are running their own race, on a track that is much more difficult than the one we ran on. That is the simple truth of it. And this financial anxiety, it shows up in quiet ways, doesn't it? It's the nights you spend lying awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying bills in your head. It's the hesitation you feel before calling the dentist about a toothache, because you're worried about the cost. And it's that heavy feeling in your stomach, a feeling of guilt, when the thought of asking your kids for help even crosses your mind. I think of my patient, Robert. A wonderful man, a retired mechanic who could fix anything. He was a fantastic father. But a sudden medical issue brought a storm of bills that his savings just couldn't weather. He told me the hardest part wasn't the illness itself. It was the moment he realized that asking his children for help felt like asking them to sacrifice a piece of their own family's future. And that pain, he said, was worse than any physical ailment. It broke his heart. So let's stop this cycle right now. You can begin building your own security today. Please, stop thinking of your children as your retirement plan. Start by taking one small, powerful step. This week, just look at your expenses and find one small area where you can save. Maybe it's just $20. Take that $20 and put it into a separate savings account. Call it your peace of mind fund. Your goal is to build that up little by little until you have just $500 in it. You would be amazed how much security, how much sheer relief a small cushion like that can provide. It's your first step toward true independence. If financial peace of mind is a goal you want to work towards, please take a moment and comment with the word stability below. It's a promise to yourself. Now, let's move to the second pillar. This one is just as crucial, because without it, no amount of money in the world matters. Pillar number 2. Your physical health. A deeply ingrained idea I often hear is, well, I'm getting older. It's natural to slow down, to feel weaker. If I get sick, my family will be there to take care of me. While the sentiment comes from a place of trust in our loved ones, it's a passive approach to the one thing that determines your quality of life more than anything else. Here is the medical reality of what happens in our bodies. After we pass the age of 60, we all experience a natural decline in muscle mass. The scientific term is sarcopenia. But here is the critical part. An inactive lifestyle can speed up that process by almost 3 times. 3 times. That loss of muscle is what leads directly to poor balance, a higher risk of falls, and ultimately, a loss of your precious independence. The root of this isn't laziness. The root is a misunderstanding of retirement. We think of it as a time to finally rest, to stop moving. But our bodies were designed to move, right until the very end. And the symptoms of this decline are so common, we often just dismiss them as old age. Do you ever find it just a little harder to get up out of a comfortable chair than it used to be? Do you feel winded after climbing a single flight of stairs? That's not just your age talking. That is a direct signal from your body. It's an alarm bell telling you that your foundation, your physical strength, is weakening. I had a patient named David, a man who loved telling me stories about how active he used to be. But in retirement, he embraced the quiet life a little too much. Over a few years, he went from a man who could walk for miles to someone who struggled to get to his own mailbox at the end of the driveway. He told me, with tears in his eyes, that his children were wonderful. They brought him groceries, they helped with chores, but they couldn't give him back the strength to walk on his own 2 feet. He realized that he had outsourced the responsibility for his own mobility, and he was determined to get it back. You can, too. Your body is the only home you will ever truly own. It is time to start taking care of it. And I am not asking you to go out and train for a marathon. I am asking for one small, consistent promise to yourself. Can you commit to a 10-minute walk each day? Just 10 minutes. It could be around the block after dinner. It could be a few laps inside your local mall. 10 minutes of movement. That is all it takes to signal to your body that you are not giving up. It is the most powerful investment you can make in your own freedom. To make a commitment to a more active life, a life of independence, take a moment and comment with the word active. Let's discuss the third pillar. This one addresses an ache that is invisible, but can be just as painful as any physical ailment. Pillar number 3. Your social circle. So many of us tell ourselves, my family is all I need. As long as I have my kids and grandkids, I'm not lonely. Family is, without a doubt, one of life's greatest blessings. But relying on them to be your entire social world is a recipe for isolation. The science on this is absolutely clear. When we experience loneliness, our brains release the same stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, as if we were in physical danger. Over time, these hormones can lead to inflammation, a weakened immune system, and even an increased risk of heart disease and dementia. Loneliness is not just a feeling. It is a serious medical condition. And the core reason this becomes such a risk as we age is simple, and it's sad. Our worlds naturally begin to shrink. Old friends move away to be closer to their own families. Loved ones pass on. Our social circles don't shrink because of a failing on our part, but because that is the nature of a long life. And the most common symptom of this creeping isolation? It's that feeling of waiting. Waiting for the phone to ring. Waiting for a text message. Measuring your day by the connections that you hope will come from the outside, instead of the ones you create for yourself. It's a feeling of powerlessness. I remember a patient, Susan, a lovely woman with 2 devoted sons. But her sons were in the thick of their careers, raising their own teenagers. The weekly family dinners she cherished slowly became monthly, then occasional. She described her days as long and quiet, filled with the hope that one of her boys would have a spare moment to call. She was waiting. Then she made a change. She joined a local gardening club. She told me she was nervous at first, but then she started talking to another woman about roses. And she laughed. A real, genuine laugh. She realized she hadn't had a conversation that wasn't about her family or her health in years. That small step opened up her world. Her story is proof that we all need connections outside of our family tree. We need people who share our interests, who knew us when we were younger, who can simply talk about the weather or a good book. So here is your simple, actionable step. This week, I want you to make one phone call. Just one. Call an old friend, a former neighbor, a cousin you haven't spoken to in a while. Don't wait for them to call you. You make the call. It might feel awkward for the first minute, but I promise you that single act of reaching out is a powerful antidote to loneliness. If you believe in the power of friendship and connection, please comment with the word connected below. This brings us to our 4th pillar, the one that keeps our minds sharp and our spirits bright. Pillar number 4, your sense of purpose. The most dangerous thought a retiree can have is this: I'm done. I've worked my whole life, raised my family. My best days are behind me. This belief is not just sad. It's scientifically incorrect. Our brains are wired to thrive on purpose and learning. When we engage in a new activity or learn a new skill, our brain releases a chemical called dopamine, which is linked to feelings of satisfaction and motivation. More importantly, learning new things builds new neural pathways, a process called neuroplasticity. This is your brain's natural defense against cognitive decline. When you believe your purpose is gone, you are literally telling your brain it's okay to stop working. And the root cause is understandable. For decades, our identities were wrapped up in our roles. We were a parent, a spouse, an engineer, a teacher, a nurse. When those roles fade, it can feel like we are fading, too. The most common symptom of a lack of purpose is not sadness, but a sense of emptiness. It's the feeling of waking up and not knowing what to do with the day. It's the boredom that seeps in, the feeling of being invisible, of just watching the world go by from your window instead of being a part of it. I think of Bill, a retired engineer I knew. He was brilliant. But after a few months of retirement, he was miserable. He told me, "Doc, I feel useless." His kids would visit, and he loved seeing them, but he felt like he had nothing to contribute anymore. On a whim, he saw an ad for volunteers at the local middle school's robotics club. He almost didn't go. He thought, what could an old man teach these kids? Well, it turns out, a lot. He went from feeling useless to being Mr. Bill, the cool old guy who knew how to make the robots work. He had a reason to get out of bed again. He had a purpose. Your purpose doesn't have to be as grand as mentoring children. It can be anything that engages your mind and spirit. It could be deciding to finally learn how to play the guitar. It could be planting a small vegetable garden on your patio. It could be researching your family history. The key is to be a creator, not just a consumer. So here is your task. Sometime today, take out a piece of paper and a pen. Spend just 15 minutes writing down one thing you've always been curious about, or one small thing you've always wanted to do. Just one. You don't have to do it yet. Just give it a name. Write it down. That is the first step to telling your brain, we're not done yet. If you are ready to find your new purpose, comment with the word purpose. Alright, pillar number 5. This one is about the strength we find on the inside, especially when the outside world feels shaky. Pillar number 5. Your emotional resilience. A common emotional habit I see is the reliance on others to manage our feelings. The thought is, when I feel sad or anxious, I'll just call my daughter. She always knows how to cheer me up. While it's wonderful to have family to lean on, depending on them as your primary source of emotional regulation can make you incredibly fragile. True emotional strength is an inside job. From a neurological perspective, practices like mindfulness and gratitude aren't just nice ideas. They physically change your brain. They strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation, and they weaken the amygdala, your brain's fear center. You are literally building a stronger, calmer brain. The reason this becomes so vital as we get older is that life will inevitably bring us more moments of grief and loss. Friends move, spouses pass away, and our own health presents new challenges. We cannot avoid hardship, but we can build the internal strength to withstand it. The primary symptom of low emotional resilience is feeling easily overwhelmed. It's when a small problem, like a burnt piece of toast or a misplaced set of keys, feels like a major catastrophe. It's that feeling of being tossed about by the waves of life, instead of feeling like you are the captain of your own ship, capable of navigating through the storm. I watched a patient of mine, a woman named Mary, go through this transformation. She lost her husband of 50 years, and for the first year, she was understandably lost. She relied heavily on her children. But she told me she noticed they would get a worried look on their face whenever she called, and she realized she was transferring her grief onto them. So she joined a support group. She started a small gratitude journal. Every night, she would write down just one good thing that happened that day. A sunny morning, a good cup of coffee, a call from a friend. She said at first it felt silly. But slowly, over months, she started to feel a shift. She wasn't just waiting for someone else to make her feel better. She was learning how to find peace within herself. You can build this strength too. It starts with one small, quiet practice. Tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to do what Mary did. Just close your eyes and think of one single good thing from your day. It doesn't matter how small it is. A bird you saw outside your window. The taste of your favorite meal. A kind word from a cashier. Hold on to that one positive thought for just a moment. That's it. That is how you begin to train your brain to find the good, to build its own strength from the inside out. If you are committed to building your inner strength, please comment with the word strong. We've arrived at our final pillar. This may be the most important one of all, because it's the one that allows all the others to work, even when life changes. Pillar number 6. Your ability to adapt. The most self-defeating belief any of us can hold on to as we age is, I'm too old to change. This is just the way I am. That single thought is a cage. It locks you into the past and prevents you from finding joy in the present and future. The science of the brain has shown us something remarkable in recent decades. The concept of neuroplasticity. It's a fancy word for a simple, beautiful truth. Your brain never, ever loses its ability to learn, to change, and to form new connections. You are never too old to learn a new skill, to change a habit, or to see the world in a new way. The reason we often resist change isn't a failure of our brain. It's a product of our comfort. We get used to our routines. We get scared of the unfamiliar, especially when it comes to things like new technology. Our resistance to change is a defense mechanism. And the symptom is easy to spot. It's that feeling of frustration or anger when things aren't the way they used to be. It's complaining about these newfangled phones, or getting annoyed when a store changes its layout. It's the tendency to say, in my day, a lot. It's the feeling that the world is moving on without you, and you're being left behind. Let's go back to John, the gentleman I mentioned at the very beginning. For months after his wife died, he was stuck. He hated the idea of video calls. It felt cold and impersonal. He told me, I want to see my grandkids in person, not on some screen. But his loneliness became more painful than his resistance. So, with his granddaughter's patient help, he learned. and he discovered something amazing. Seeing his granddaughter's smile on that screen, 1,000 miles away, wasn't cold at all. It was a miracle. He adapted. He didn't let change defeat him. He found a way to use it to bring more connection into his life. Thriving in your later years is not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to ask new questions. It's about being curious. Your ability to adapt is the ultimate pillar of support because it means you are never truly stuck. So, here is your challenge. The next time you feel that spark of frustration with something new or different, I want you to pause. And instead of thinking, "This is annoying," I want you to ask yourself a different question. What is one small benefit I could possibly get from this? It might be learning to use online banking to save a trip to the bank on a rainy day. It might be trying a new type of food. Just by asking the question, you open the door to growth instead of slamming it shut. If you are willing to embrace change and continue to grow, comment with the word adapt. So, as we come to a close, let's go back to my patient, John, the man who once spent his days just waiting by the phone. Today, John is no longer waiting. He's busy. He's busy planning his weekly video call with his granddaughter out in California. He's busy preparing for his online history discussion group. He didn't just survive the changes in his life. He learned to adapt, to grow, and to find joy in new ways. He didn't let change break him. Instead, he learned how to dance with it. His story brings us to the simple, powerful truth we've talked about today. True, lasting support, the kind that gives you unshakable peace of mind, doesn't come from hoping others will always be there to catch you. It comes from building a foundation for yourself that is so strong, so resilient, that you know in your heart you can stand firm on your own, no matter what storms may come. It's about knowing you are prepared. We've explored 6 critical pillars that can truly transform your later years. But knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video? It could be as simple as, I will take a 10-minute walk every day, or I will call an old friend tomorrow. Maybe it's, I will write down one good thing before I go to sleep tonight. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Your words will not only solidify your own intention, but they will also inspire someone else in our community to take that first brave step. Let's lift each other up. And if you found real value and encouragement in our time together today, please show your support by giving this video a like. It truly helps more people find this message. To make sure you continue on this journey with us, and never miss another video full of this kind of practical wisdom, please hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community. A community dedicated to living our best, strongest, and most independent lives together. Finally, think of one person, a friend, a sibling, a neighbor, who you feel needs to hear this message today. Please, take a moment to share it with them. You might just give them the gift of strength and hope they've been looking for. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me. Stay healthy, stay wise, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.